I was struggling. And I knew that it was affecting my work performance, and I knew that everybody knew that I was acting different. And so I was just like, listen, here's the deal.
You're listening to the latest dose of Bipolar Recorder. This podcast may cause dizziness and blurred vision. Enjoy.
Welcome back to Bipolar Recorder. My name is Hunter Keegan. Thanks for joining me today. This is one of the installments that was recorded back in early November, shortly before I had my holiday crisis. My friend Rowan Hart joined us once again to have a chat. As opposed to all these heavy installments that we've been doing lately, this is actually a pretty chill conversation that is overall light in nature. There are no major content warnings for this one. In the first half of the installment, Rowan talks a lot about the nuances of relationships, dating, and love while living with mental illness. The second half of the installment transitions to focusing on me more heavily. I talk a lot about what led up to my holiday crisis, event, scenario, incident, whatever you want to call it, that I discussed in episode 29. The conversation eerily foreshadows what happened, and I think this is really interesting, so I kept it in the installment for today. Let's go ahead and get started. Rowan Hart is back.
Hi.
Rowan, how are you?
I'm actually doing really good, all things considered.
Okay. Really good in an actual good way, or I might possibly be entering an episode kind of way?
I think it's dangerously deceptive with the mood disorders, because
very good point.
I think it's just regular good, stable good. But time will tell if it's going to turn into an episode, I suppose.
How long have you been feeling super good for?
A couple weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a prolonged period. But as long as it's staying in check and doesn't seem to be getting weird, that's fantastic.
It is. I did spend a little bit of money the other day that I probably shouldn't have spent, which does tend to coincide with my more manicness, I suppose. And I guess I haven't slept super great the last couple of weeks, but part of that was because I got sick, and I think I just need to change sedatives. But definitely there are some signage of potential, at least hypomania, but I don't feel as stupidly confident as I normally do when I'm getting manic. I'll be real brave. And I feel good, and I feel confident, but I don't feel confident, if that makes sense.
You don't feel grandiose.
Yes. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm bigger than my own britches.
Well, for the audience, and speaking of times when we do get too big for our britches and we do get too grandiose, could you please tell the crowd what your diagnoses are?
Sure. Let's see. I got a slew of them. You're talking just cognitive, I presume? I got ADHD. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I have generalized anxiety disorder. I have complex PTSD, and I have bipolar disorder, type 1.
BP type 1. Along with OCD and those other conditions, OCD is so... I have bipolar type 1 and OCD, or at least in the past, I've had really bad problems with OCD. I'm very, very fortunate to say that I've been able to, work on that a lot in therapy, and it's it's not the sort of thing that really fucks my days up anymore.
Hey, congrats, man. That's fucking rad.
I don't know how it happened. There was a period in my life where OCD was just totally messing me up. Like, I was afraid to leave my house. I was doing all sorts of compulsive rituals and things. How's your OCD these days? Are you in a maintenance phase? Is it still something that messes with you?
Actually, it's very interesting. This year, my OCD has been kind of a roller coaster. Earlier in the year, I went through a couple of really bad depressive episodes, actually. They were very intense. They were very long. One of them was due to a med change. And during those, obviously, I was having a lot of intrusive thoughts that were very of the unaliving myself variety. And it was very much something that was like persistent. Like, I was having intrusive thought back to back to back to back, and I was having really strong compulsions to act on them. I didn't.
Good.
But it was a close call.
Still here.
Yeah. Didn't get hospitalized that round, so we're
good.
And then lately I've been in a really good place, and I've noticed in the last few weeks my OCD has been worse. And I think that it's because, well, number one, mental illness is a bitch. And, you can't be doing too good for too long, right? But on top of that, I think I am feeling much less stressed out and much less like burdened by things. And I think that has freed up my executive functioning enough for me to obsess over things again, which is not ideal, but I have therapy tomorrow, so I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah, and I mean, intrusive thoughts are a symptom of mania for some people too.
For sure.
So how old were you when you were diagnosed with OCD?
This is 2015.
Okay.
So I was 22.
22 years old. And how old were you when you were diagnosed with bipolar?
I was 27.
27.
26 or 27. I think 27. That was 2019.
Okay. So how old are you now?
I am almost 30.
Yeah. Okay. So we're both in the 29 club. Crazy.
Yeah. We made it past the 27 club, though, which I'm proud of. The day I turned 28, I had just the weirdest kind of like grieving process because like so many people who are mentally ill, particularly if they're the like extraordinarily creative variety, as everybody knows, they don't make it past the 27 club. And the day I turned 28, I shed a lot of grief, and I definitely felt like strange because like I wasn't supposed to make it this far. What do I do now? So yeah, it's been interesting. But I'll be 30 in a few months.
Yeah, not joining the 27 club was a big goal of mine too for that year in my life. I was like, really don't want to not outlive Kurt Cobain was like my goal for that year. I was like, I'm going to make it to 28 and then I'm going to find another goal to have before I die.
I learned this thing a while back. That is a tool that I use particularly when I'm in depressive episodes, but I think it's kind of useful all the time. But I am, because of my particular breed of trauma and my personality type, which I'm sure was shaped by my trauma, Because of those factors, though, I am particularly prone to wanting to please other people and like not let other people down. And I know that that's a trait that a lot of people have. And I've learned to like trick my brain a little bit because especially if I'm like in a real bad depressive episode and I'm like kind of suicidal, if I just like make plans for like relatively near in the future, like within the next week, then I can't kill myself because I have plans and I can't let those people down. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just die when you got shit to do. Like,
it sounds so silly and we can laugh about it, but it's actually like so helpful. Like I do that too. And it's different, but I did that with when I was getting clean from alcohol and stuff.
right.
I would just set those like, all right, well, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do stuff. I'm going to find things to fill my time. And if I get fucked up, I'm not going to be able to do those things. So you can kind of, filter that concept into other areas too. It's not a bad coping strategy at all.
No, for sure. And I also like the technique of, which doesn't always work if you're mentally ill, obviously. But if you're in some kind of situational depression, that's not necessarily chemical, or if you are going through a grieving process, because that's a very different type of sadness, like some specific breed of sadness, then I find it super helpful to like basically make an end date, be like, all right, I got a month to get the fuck over this. And by, December 3rd, I'm getting my shit together. Like, it's just, I'm not going to be fucking fucked up over this anymore. And I found that to also be kind of helpful. And it doesn't always work, like, obviously on the dot, because we're not, psychic. But it does help me, I feel like, start to pack up the emotion because, like, I know that the deadline is approaching, if that makes sense.
Mm. So, in terms of practical questions, practical items that are also relevant for the crowd sometimes, are you still living up in Buffalo, New York?
I am. I still live in New York. We're coming into winter. It hasn't snowed yet, and everybody here is shocked.
That is wild that it hasn't snowed there yet. It's been getting pretty cold. So I live in Southern Virginia now, which is awesome. But I'm up in the mountains and it's getting colder up here faster than I'm used to. So I'm kind of learning to live with that. But overall, the move has been really good. But I've been having some mood cycles that I've been dealing with lately, and we can talk more about that later. Sure. So, and you're still working full time, right?
I am.
Still working full time, holding down that job while living with these serious mental health conditions. That's incredible.
I mean, one time a therapist described it to me this way, and I never really thought about it, but she was like, what you are doing is like incredible. Like, people who start at base level 0, no mental illnesses, sometimes still can't do what you do. And for you to do what you are doing at the rate that you are doing it and excelling at it with the mental illnesses, I mean, you're working like 400% times harder than everybody else. And I never really thought about it like that, honestly, because it's such a like normal thing for me. Like, this is just how my brain operates. But it did help me like give myself grace. Like, when I am not doing as well, I do have to remember, like, sometimes I'm not firing on all cylinders. Like, I got a lot going on in the noodle.
Yeah, you absolutely deserve to give yourself credit for that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
It's like, it's crazy, but these are disabilities, right? These are things that are supposed to impact our occupational functioning and our
life functioning.
The quality of life.
Yeah. But it sounds like your occupational functioning is great right now. And overall, how is life? How would you describe your overall life functioning?
Well, whereas work is concerned, I am very fortunate that I work for a company actually who, or for a nonprofit, a local nonprofit who specializes in providing services to people with disabilities. So I come from a workplace that is very understanding about mental illnesses and stuff.
Yeah.
So that really helps. My bosses are super supportive. Like I actually told them around April when I was going through my med change and I was having that first really big depressive episode of the year. I actually told my bosses that I have bipolar disorder because I was struggling. And I knew that it was affecting my work performance, and I knew that everybody knew that I was acting different. And so I was just like, listen, here's the deal. They were like really receptive, very respectful. They asked if there was any way they could support me. And honestly, just the flexibility that comes with my job, which I am also very fortunate about, is great for me. Like I can go in late, I can leave early, I can take a day off last minute as long as I get somebody to cover my clients or I reschedule their appointments. So there's a lot of flexibility, which is really good for people with mental health issues. And the benefits are really nice. Like I get to go to therapy on the clock.
Nice.
Like it's in my building. I just have to walk down there.
That's awesome.
So that's a really neat facet. And we get like 5 weeks PTO, like right out the gate. So like if I need to take some time off because my mental health is in the garbage can, I can do that. So that really helps my overall quality of life. Otherwise, I'm doing really well. My companion is about to move in with me.
Oh, okay.
And that's really exciting. Probably in January. And this, thing that we're in is going really well. And he's been just an absolute gem. And so that's really helping my quality of life because I'm a love. Like I just love love. And I just love love.
A lover, not a hater.
Oh no, 100%. Like full stop. So that's been really helping my quality of life. And honestly, I like where I live, I like the weather. So all of that has been definitely contributing to the better mood that I'm.
Yeah, having strong relationships is super important. How long have you known this companion for?
Well, we met last year.
Okay.
Our 1-year anniversary is tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations.
So last you knew, I was going through a bit of a breakup. And he was having some I'm not gonna fill out his business, obviously. And he was having a lot of really personal issues with his own mental health. And because of that, he wanted to dissolve the relationship because the expectations that came with the labels that come with the relationship were really hard for him while he was trying to muddle through this thing that he was working on. And so we were technically broken up for a while, like 2 months. But we never really kind of stopped interacting like we were not broken up. We still said I love you and I miss you and talked a lot on the phone. So we just weren't seeing each other in person, essentially. I was starting to see other people, not because I was over him. I was still very much in love with him, but I gotta take care of myself. And if that wasn't gonna happen, I gotta tend to my needs other ways.
Are you still? I'm sorry. Are you still about that? Are you still about that polyamory life?
That's coming in the story.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I very much, I am poly, so it's easier for me to compartmentalize my feelings for one person and still allow myself to have feelings for another person. So I was still very much in love with him, but I was seeing some other people. And he was just like irrationally jealous about that. And I mean that in a very loving way. It was honestly kind of sweet. But he was not like, controlling in any capacity. I didn't actually know that he was jealous for a little while even. But everything kind of came to a head one day, and we were like having a serious discussion, and we had been talking for a little bit about him moving in, and kind of just the being together thing just happened again. Like we just one day, here we are, and tomorrow's our anniversary. So we're just gonna gloss over the fact that we weren't together for 2 months and let it happen, because we weren't like out of each other's lives or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, so I've known him for over a year.
Well, that's good that it's still going strong and y'all were able to work out your differences. It sounds like it was probably a big growing process for him, particularly. It sounds like he had some hangups.
Oh, he's done so much growing, and I'm so proud of him. Like, he's put so much effort.
Nice.
But it was never really a matter of us like not working out or things being difficult. It was just his mental state, and my mental state at the time was also not the best, which makes things really difficult when you're in a relationship and you're mentally ill. But we decided that we can figure it out together.
Cool. Well, I hope that keeps going well.
Oh yeah, I've been irrationally happy for the last several weeks. Like, it's been kind of a dream, and he planned the perfect anniversary for me tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Oh, you're so in love.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
I don't know. I think being super in love is super cool. So I'm very happy for you, and I don't think it's gross. I think it's amazing.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big proponent of love. Been a definitive crush girl my whole life. Always got a crush on somebody, and it's always very intense. That's probably the bipolar disorder, actually. Like, the intensity of it. It's definitely the emotional dysregulation.
It's like relationship OCD or something. Wait, how old were you the first time you fell in love?
That is such an interesting question. Because, like I said, definitive crush girl. Like, there are like horse girls that are like equine, just obsessed. And I do mean obsessed in like the actual definition of the word obsessed. I was a crush girl. Like, I had a crush. I'm bi, so I had a crush on everybody for like my whole life. I was just crushing on people. So like, and also like platonic and romantic love are very similar to me. Like, I have a really hard time distinguishing between them. Like, no act is inherently romantic to me, nor is any act like inherently platonic. Like, I can hold hands with or cuddle with my friends and it'd be completely platonic. And I could, probably have sex with them and also it'd be completely platonic. Like, it's just about intent with me. Yeah. But because of that, I don't know. And also, they say that like every time you fall in love, it's different. Like, every time, like every love that you have is a different type of love. And I believe that's actually really true, because with what I'm feeling for Drew, like to the intensity that I feel it, and in the ways that like my body physically feels it, I would say that I've never been in love before Drew. But there are also other times in my life that I knew or thought when I was with somebody that I definitely wasn't with them. And so, I don't know, I keep moving that goalpost. So, interesting question. I will offer you a compromise answer because I don't know the actual answer, and say that I have been in about 6 very serious long-term relationships.
Yeah, like actual relationships.
Yeah, like over a year at least.
Okay. Right
Some
on.
up to 4.
Yeah. So did you start crushing on girls or guys first?
My first ever crush, his name was Tyler Walker. We went to preschool together.
Okay.
And I was in love with Tyler. Tyler Walker, if you're listening to this, you're a bitch. I was in love with Tyler Walker from preschool to age 17. And the way that worked is that he and I went to the same school for preschool and first grade, or preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. And then I swapped schools, and I swapped schools a series of times. And then at 17, I went back to that same school for third grade and swapped schools again. And then I came back when I was 17, and I had not seen Tyler Walker since first grade because I was gone for second grade and then he was gone for third grade. So at 17, we wound up at the same school that we started at together again. And everything flooded back to me. I was still in love with him, I swear. And then, he hated me. Like, he just absolutely hated me. Like, I remember him, like, boys, when they're little, they're like, oh, girls have cooties. And they, like, run away and stuff. And he did that. And then as he got older, it got more aggressive. Like at 17, the man called me a bitch. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's not cool.
But no, he was really shitty at 17. And that made me just very happy that didn't work out. And then, funnily enough, I changed schools again. And then our senior year, we ended up at a different school together.
Okay, wow. That's
wild.
That's a roller coaster right there. Holy shit.
But yeah, so boys, I guess Tyler Walker was my first love, I feel like.
Amazing. Tyler Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah, sounds unfortunate that didn't work out, but you know what? That's just one of those things in life where you live, you learn, and you move on.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, what's the best thing that has happened to you this year?
Can it be about somebody else if it just made me really happy?
Sure, yeah.
My favorite thing then that came out of this year is honestly Drew's growth. Like him being able to put himself in a better mental place and really want to work towards like having a union with somebody, which is something that he never really kind of allowed himself to have before. Mm-hmm. And I think like, I don't know if he's going to listen to this later. So like I might be missing the mark and he can have at me in private about that. But because I think like he's maybe finally in a place where he's like letting himself have good things, which he wouldn't do before. And I think that takes a lot of growth and a lot of vulnerability, which I know scares him. And I don't know, I'm just really proud of him for trying. And I know that this like growth journey from him also like contributed to our relationship being so good, or our companionship being so good. And yeah, I don't know. That's probably the best thing that quote unquote happened to me this year.
That's amazing, seeing that growth in someone else who you really care about.
For sure.
Here is where we shift gears a bit, and Rowan asks me about my year. Remember that this installment was recorded just a couple of weeks before my holiday drug relapse and mental health crisis. I tell Rowan about the life disruptions and mood episodes I had been experiencing from May until the time of the recording in early November. The conversation eerily foreshadows the crisis as I directly touch on a lot of the issues that would ultimately lead up to the event. Note that I reference some things, such as the fallout of the stalking and harassment that my ex-girlfriend engaged in after I broke up with her.
As far as practicing self-care strategies goes,
you gotta
what?
tell me what your good thing was for the year.
Oh, my good thing for the year. Oh man, it's been such a crazy year for me.
I know what you've gone through this year.
A lot of people don't realize that I have a life as well and a serious mental illness as well. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I do live with every day. And the last year of my life, it started out really solid for like the first 6 months or so, January up until late May. And then there was this really, really awful, inciting incident that I can't really go into too much detail about. And that really started fucking with my mood cycles. So next thing I knew, I was having hypomanic episodes, and then I was just like hitting a wall and crashing for like 5 days. And it was really up and down. And then I was relocating from my hometown for the first time,
which is huge. Like, that is no small feat. Like, amongst non-mentally ill folks, there was a survey done, and the single most stressful life event that any adult person could go through is moving.
Yeah, it was a lot. And one of the things about it is, I was moving a couple 100 miles. I had never really done that before, except for when I was in college, but I don't think that's really the same, like.
Right, because it feels like temporary if it's for college.
Yeah.
It's a staycation.
And it's like dorm rooms and shit. Yeah. It's not really the same. So anyhow, I finally had the opportunity to do something that I'd really want to have been doing for like the last 10 years, which was move out of the hustle and bustle of Northern Virginia and kind of get out in a more chill, laid back environment. So now I live in Southern Virginia. And that's been a really big transition too. And it's been a really positive transition in most ways, but also it's a major life stressor. And part of the thing with moving down here is for like basically all of August, I was living in my childhood home with my parents. And
that's tough.
That was really tough. And
that's like reporting to you from the scene of the crime. Like, that's rough.
Well, literally. And so like I was having to sleep in the basement where like I was detained by cops, and I used to just drink down there for like days at a time, and there's just
great memories.
Just all of this really, really heavy emotional baggage associated with that environment. So that was causing like depressive symptoms. And keep in mind, I'm also like moving all my stuff into a storage unit and actively trying to find a new place to live, and like driving around like the tri-state area trying to find a city that I vibe with and everything. So it's just been a whole lot. But I think overall right now I'm doing like okay, but I've been having to check in with my therapist a lot lately, and I had to make some pretty, not like major, but definitely significant medication adjustments, because I was going through like a debilitating depression a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, like I had to take time off of work and stuff. And earlier you were talking about how supportive your work environment is. And I'm really blessed to be able to say right now I have a similar thing.
Oh, that's the best.
My coworkers know that I have a disability. I've just never told them specifically what. But I think at this point, I've worked at this company for, going on a couple of years now.
Right.
And people have, I think, figured it out that it's like mental health related. Mm-hmm. There is one coworker who I'm like pretty tight with, and I've shared with her really a whole lot about my story. And anyway, I was at a point where I couldn't focus at work at all. And I was like falling asleep at my desk and stuff because I was sleeping less than like 2 hours a night. And luckily I work from home. So it wasn't like people were able to see me like, nodding off while I'm trying to get stuff done. But it was getting so bad that I had to email my boss because I work remotely. Mm-hmm. So I had to like email my boss and just be like, hey man, like it's going down.
You're like, I need some time.
Yeah, I didn't really go into a whole lot of specifics, but I was just like, I have a disability that's like really exacerbated by life stress, and I've been having just like a ton of anxiety and paranoia lately. I shared some other life things with him that have been going on, and just to give him some context for why this anxiety and paranoia has been occurring.
Right.
And he was just like totally cool about it, which was really impressive because we were busy. Like we're a pretty small business. So I have a small team that I work with. And when one of us is unexpectedly out of office, it can really fuck things up for the rest of the team, which
sucks. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So, but really like my boss was cool about it, and my small group of team members like stepped in and really stepped up to the plate, and I was able to take a couple of days off of work.
That's awesome.
to try to get some rest. Yeah. So I took like a few days off of work and came back, and guess what? I still felt just as bad. Like I had been trying to sleep, but like the insomnia was still awful. My concentration was still totally fucked up. Just like extreme fatigue and being totally scatterbrained. So I actually had to have an appointment with my psychiatrist. Coincidentally, we had an appointment scheduled already.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was like perfect timing actually. And so that's why I had like a big medication adjustment recently that I'm still kind of getting used to, and I'm still kind of stabilizing after this major depression. I mean, it was a major depressive episode. It went for over 2 weeks, and I'm on medication already. So imagine how bad that would have been if I like wasn't in treatment.
Right? If we weren't on like mood stabilizers.
Yeah. And so lately I've been thinking more and more about the fact that I take a lot of psychotropic medication to function. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to think like, is this something that I'm really going to do for the rest of my life? And I keep going back and forth on if I want to experiment with discontinuing medication. But when events like this recent cycle that I had happen, it makes me wonder, it's just like, how much worse would that have been? Would it have been the same? Like, are the meds doing anything at all?
Oh, no. I think if it was that bad, you probably would have been hospitalized if you weren't medicated.
Really?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I have had really, really bad depressive episodes, as you know. Like I've had psychotic depressions and stuff. So it's like for me, I think mania is more dangerous personally, just like for me as an individual. Mm-hmm. But
I love my mania. My mania, top shelf, 10 out of 10. I feel great. Yeah. But like the depressive episodes, I want to die so hard that like that is definitely a more dangerous place I feel like for me to be in.
Yeah, no. So my thing is like, I have gone through like suicidal depression and stuff, but I'm somehow able to hang in there. When I was full bore manic and like ended up in the hospital and shit, it was just getting so outrageously dangerous. And I have so many problems with hospitalization and shit. Like, I think there was another answer besides having to go inpatient and have the police involved and everything. I really, really think that could have been resolved a lot differently, especially with like the maturity and knowledge that I have now. But during that manic episode, like, it's a miracle that I didn't get in a, life threatening or life ending car accident or something from like driving recklessly or accidentally overdosing on medication. Cause I used to drink hard liquor on top of like Xanax and stuff to get fucked up. And there were a couple of times where, and I'm just sharing this because like I try to be totally real about my life with people and shit. And like I've come a really long way, and I like that's amazing. But like things did used to be like really fucking bad, like really, really not good. I don't know. I just think it's important to talk openly about addiction issues. I've been sober from alcohol for almost 7 years now, if I make it to January. So I've got my fingers crossed for that. But I've had some other stuff going on, like where I think I've been using marijuana kind of excessively and things like that. So I'm actually in a place right now where I've been reevaluating a whole lot of things in my life and really taking stock of like what's currently important to me and how I want to maintain things. So, anyway, this has just been a total rant, but I guess the point is that I've been having a whole lot of stuff going on, and to be honest, like first 6 months of the year were chill, but the last like 5 months and probably going through the end of the year have been pretty intense. And it's been pretty real. So I'm hanging in there. One of the key coping strategies I'm using right now actually is the podcast, to just have projects to focus on and things to work on. And I'm wrapping up the final production on this new album that I've been working on, and
hell yeah,
hopefully that'll be out there within the next few weeks or so. It's just like a crazy little, music creative project thing that I do for my own crazy pleasure. And I like to share it with people. Some people get it, some people don't, but that's what it's all about, man. Like, I'm just into creating art.
Well, I know what you've been through, like the personal stuff that you don't want to talk about here, which is...
Yeah, I just unfortunately can't.
Just a quick heads up that Rowan references the quote-unquote hard thing a few times here, and that situation that we're discussing was when I broke up with my ex. At the time of the recording, that information was not public yet, but now that the cat's out of the bag, there's no need for me to leave things ambiguous.
No, I totally get that. I know you've been through, it's been a really tumultuous year for a lot of us, but especially you. And honestly, I'm really proud of you. I'm proud of you for doing the hard thing and removing yourself from the situation that we are not discussing, and also for doing the hard thing and moving, and for doing the hard thing and living with your parents for a little while, for doing the hard thing and like making the med adjustments and being introspective and like looking at how you can better your life, which is something that not a lot of people can do. And also for like your sobriety, what? Look at you go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for calling it the hard thing. I like how it's like just ambiguous enough.
Well, it was a situation.
It was the hard thing. Yeah,
it was a hard thing.
That's a good way to put it. not drinking. That's kind of like the number one thing for me. Staying the fuck away from alcohol. And I've been able to keep doing that. And, you know, I've just been focusing on trying to get back on a good sleep cycle. But
me too, bro.
But I've been on like heavy sleep meds over the last like week. Just
like
because,
Seroquel heavy or like
Klonopin heavy.
Oh, see, Klonopin's not that bad for me.
Yeah, but like it's a pretty hardcore medication.
Yeah.
And my doctor, I just had this really honest conversation with my psychiatrist, and I was like, listen, like I have been sleeping less than 2 hours a night for the last week and a half, and I just cannot sleep. Like, can I get a refill on my Klonopin? And he actually increased the dose, which was cool. But just temporarily while
Right.
I'm kind of getting stabilized. But it's hard to feel stabilized when you're taking a downer at night just to sleep, and then you wake up the next day and it's like, all right, now I'm going to take Adderall.
I know,
for my ADHD. It's like, what, it's the whole pharmaceutical thing is like crazy.
You feel very like paradoxical.
It's weird. And I mean, a lot of people would, like, in the AA or NA crowd, they would not consider my lifestyle to be like remotely sober. You know what I mean? Because I do take narcotic medication and it's prescribed by a physician, but a lot of people
abuse the things. Like, you take them the way that they are directed.
Usually.
That's true.
Usually.
Listen, we're mentally ill. We all self-medicate at some point. I'm not advising it. I'm not saying it's good, but
no,
it is necessary.
I've had to be extremely careful lately, especially with the Klonopin, because my brain is wired for like downers. So I have to be really careful when I take any sort of depressant medication like Klonopin or Xanax or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have to be careful with that shit. But yeah, I'm just trying to make it through. No big deal.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm hanging in there. I mean, in positive news, in the last year, I got a big promotion at work. I got, a bonus at work.
You moved away?
I moved away from my hometown that I was sick of and that was totally draining my mental health. So there's good things happening, but they're also like really big things that really make an impact on kind of everything.
Yeah, especially when you have a mood disorder that like is very easily swayed by life events.
Yeah, totally. Man, I wish I could talk about the hard thing. I'm going to talk to you about that after we finish up recording, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, man.
You were going to ask me a self-care question and I derailed you. If you would like to ask that now, I'm here to listen.
Oh, yeah. That was like 15 minutes ago. Yeah. What self-care have you been practicing lately?
Well, I am doing the thing that I kind of always do, that I was it was ingrained in me by a therapist once, that I'm not allowed to like recluse. Like, I'm not allowed. I'm an extrovert. I'm an outgoing extrovert. On top of that, I have 2 disorders that are characterized by kind of socialization. So I am a very people person, very chatty person. And I've been taught that I'm not allowed to hermit myself when I don't feel well. So most of what I do for self-care is honestly just keeping in contact with the people I love, like my inner circle people, making sure like they know what's going on with my mental health so that they can watch out for certain things if need be. Or just making sure that I talk to them so that I'm not like having this like longing of like wanting to be around them and see them and talk to them and stuff. And then that helps keep my mood in check. And honestly, that's the biggest thing for me, self-care wise, like literally. Socialization is the biggest thing for me. But outside of that, I'm currently in a job that affords me, the the ability to be mentally ill. It is not a well-paying job, so I do have a little bit of poverty anxiety still rolling around in the background, but for the most part, it's good for me. I'm doing the love thing with my companion, Drew, so like that is really, really good for me as well, because like being in love just like really boosts the person's mood, but especially mine. And I've been, doing a lot of like self-growth stuff, like figuring out, new things about myself, or thinking of things about myself that I actually really like or really admire, which is really good for your self-esteem, for you to be proud of yourself and like think that you've put forth this effort and you see it and you recognize yourself for it. And I think that's a really big thing for me too. I hate all of the kind of like stereotypical self-care things, like, make a healthy meal or take a shower or take a bubble bath or go to the spa. I can't do it.
Yeah, but like those are like, for me, like eating a nutritious meal and taking a shower is like one of the number one self-care things for me.
That's why I hate food, so that makes sense for me. Well, but that's wild.
My thing is like I have a tendency to not eat, especially when I'm depressed. Like I skip meals and stuff, and have gone through like pretty major weight loss episodes and shit like that weren't good. Yeah, just like making a really nutritious smoothie and like drinking that instead of skipping a meal, waking up and taking a shower before I start work in the morning. Just stuff like that.
I mean, taking a shower, especially if I'm in a depressive episode and I haven't showered for a while, does help. Like, don't get me wrong. That one does actually do something. But for the most part, I found like typical self-care things to not really do anything for me. So I kind of forged my own path, so to speak. But it works for me.
Nice. Here's something crazy. And I just wanted to mention this. So something I've been trying to do lately is reconstruct that year of 2015. I've been working on a second memoir, which is like fucking insane. It's like, how egotistical must one be to have not one, but now two memoirs, I guess.
I mean, you've had a whole life between 2015 and today.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to do with this second memoir is really go back and dig deep and talk about things that when I wrote my first book, I didn't want to talk about because they were a little too sensitive at the time or whatever, because I think there's a lot of other stuff that I really want to share with people that wasn't really like fully explored in that first book. So anyway, like whatever, I've been writing this fucking book and I'm trying to reconstruct time periods in my life where I was like very, very manic and very psychotic and very intoxicated. And there's just these weird like time periods where I don't know like what was happening in my life. So I've been trying to put pieces together through reading back through like my archive of journals that I've kept over the years, and even going back through really old email chains from like a really long time ago, going back through old Facebook posts and stuff. No. But one of the things that I really want to do is get my records from the psychiatrist who first diagnosed me as bipolar. And I want to read her notes that she kept on file about me. And I contacted her office earlier this week. and tried to get the records, and they haven't responded yet. But that's just something that I've been working on, and it's really, really fucking intense. It was really, I'm scared. It stresses me out that I even sent them that email in the first place. And I mean,
you're legally obligated to be allowed to access your records.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with some psychotherapy notes, doctors aren't required to disclose them to patients. There's a weird thing. I was just reading
that shouldn't be allowed.
I agree with you. I was just reading through like HIPAA.gov though, and as with so many things, people with mental illness are treated differently. And I have a completely legitimate need to personally review those records that were on file about me. And there's gonna be stuff in there that's really fucking intense. But what I want to do with it is like get the records and then get together with my therapist, my current therapist, and like go through them,
discuss
and process and try to like really, really like get in there and figure some shit out. Like, I think that would be tremendously, first of all, it fascinates me just like on an intellectual, like a personal intellectual level.
Yeah, you're a very introspective person. That makes sense.
Like I'm introspective. I love psychology. I love finding patterns and things and learning more about myself and shit. I really want it for that reason. And then I also think that it would genuinely really help inform my current treatment plan, because things have been getting weird lately. And I want the full story. I'm sick of like thinking back on these sessions with that psychiatrist where I was just like ranting at her and I saw her taking all these notes, and I'm just like, I wonder what's in there. And I don't think they're obligated to necessarily provide them to me, based off of the research I've been doing, and also based off of the fact that in the state of Virginia, I think they only have to keep those records on file for 5 years. So it's been like 7 or 8 years. So it's been a while. So for the crowd, that's something I'm working on. We'll see what comes of it. Probably nothing. I almost hope nothing comes of it, but we'll see.
Noble endeavor.
Thanks. Have you ever seen case notes that they take on people when you're like at the hospital for a psych thing?
No, I've not really paid attention.
They're creepy, dude. You should look at some examples online. It's very disturbing in the way that you're described in a clinical context, and I kind of want to really fucking freak myself out, I guess, and read those notes myself. I don't know.
I'd be interested to hear in like what you learn about yourself.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me that compels me to do these things, but
maybe you're mentally ill. That's what's wrong.
I'm mentally ill. This is what I do with my free time.
I love psychology though, so like I'm that bitch. I'm with you.
Yo, when I was 18 years old, get this. So when I was like 6 or 7, I had to do like this full psychological testing battery because like I had behavioral health problems and a learning disability when I was a kid. So I had to get all this psychological testing done, and like they did all the cognitive stuff, like Rorschach tests, because I guess they were still doing those at the time. And anyway, like collected all this fucking information about like 6 or 7 year old me. And then when I was 18, I was just about to graduate high school, and I was going through like some filing cabinets that my parents had because I was looking for some like a social security card or something. I don't fucking know.
Something very normal.
I ended up finding like this full dossier that had all of the notes from those specialists who I saw when I was like 6 or 7. And
did you read them?
I read through the whole thing. Yeah, it was like 25 pages of documents, just talking about one of the things that I recall. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to find it since then. I don't know what happened to it. I suspect
the documents.
Yeah, I suspect that my parents may have thrown them away while I was in college or something. But one of the things that stood out to me in the notes is it was like patient displays signs of hypervigilance. So I'm like, wow, like that really fucking went back a long way, I guess.
You're like, that really stuck with me, didn't it?
Really did stick with me. Yeah, I really want to read back through. I wish I could find it, but I don't know. Yeah, so that was, I don't know, just a trippy life experience. Okay, Rowan, are you interested in connecting with people on social media? Do you even use Twitter anymore?
I do. I am kind of scattered across a lot of different social media, depending where you're at and what my mood is. But across social media, I am either at Manic Dream Girl, 2 R's in girl, or at Manic Depressive Dream Girl, if the handle's long enough. That was my Instagram. Again, 2 R's in girl.
Rowan, it's been a pleasure having you back on the show. Thank you for shooting the shit with me tonight.
Literally happy to anytime, man. I genuinely enjoy you as a human.
Thank you so much. I enjoy you as a human.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us today. My name's Hunter Keegan. Today's guest was Rowan Hart. Be sure to check out the episode description if you'd like to find her on social media. If you haven't listened to it yet and would like to hear more about my holiday incident, listen to episode 29, which is titled Hunter's Holiday Crisis and Whack Drug Relapse. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Bipolar Recorder or at HH Keegan. We're also on Instagram and Mastodon now. Have a wonderful and safe day, evening, or night, wherever you are.
Bipolar Recorder is a listener-supported show. To help keep the show running, consider checking out our Patreon page or visiting bipolarrecorder.com.
Unless otherwise stated, the hosts and guests on Bipolar Recorder are not licensed mental health professionals. Bipolar Recorder is not a substitute for therapy or professional medical intervention. If you are having a mental health crisis, please contact your local emergency services.